Remember these A6 size, aesthetically pleasing matte vellum cash envelopes? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make them for my Christmas binder.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan.
Hello, planner babes. Welcome back to Jasmine Plans. This is Jasmine. I am so glad to have you here with me today. If you are new, don't be shy. Make sure you go ahead and take a look around. If you like what you see, I would strongly encourage you. Hit that like button down below, click subscribe, and make sure you check off that notification bell so you know whenever I do post. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you. Today we are going to get into making cash stuffing envelopes. So first, let me go over what you will need. You will need some vellum paper. I got this from Michael's. You will also need some matte laminating pouches. I did order this off of Amazon, and everything I use will be linked in the description box down below. I also have 3mm laminating pouches, which I did get from Staples. You would also need a hole punch that can punch an A6 size, a corner punch, a paper cutter, as well as a laminator, and this is the one I am going to be using today. Of course, you will also need a computer and a printer. To create your cash envelopes, you are going to need Canva. I do have the pro version, but that is not needed to make the envelopes. You'll be okay with the free version. So first I'm going to go to create a design. I always like to go to custom size. I am going to make sure my units are in inches, and I'm going to make this 8.5 by 11, our standard letter size. Create a design. Next, the first thing I want to start off with is some lines. So I'm going to go to Elements. I'll click on Line, and I'll select a line shape. This line shape, I want to change the color first to be a gray, because that's going to help me with cutting later on. And I also like to change that line weight down to a 1, a really thin line, because again, you're going to be cutting this line. So I'm going to first make my line out to a 6.5. And the numbers come out to help you. Make sure that is 0 degrees so you know it's a straight line. And I'm just going to use my keys to copy that line again. This next line is going to be shorter. This next line I want to go down to a 3.2. And again, you want to make sure your line is straight. So this one needs to be at 90 degrees for the lines to meet. I'm going to go ahead and just copy that again and position them until they make a rectangle. Once I have the perfect rectangle, I'm going to go ahead and just select the whole thing and group it. You should be able to fit 3 of these on the page. And you'll line your boxes up together to maximize the space. Next, I'm going to go in and put a text box. And the first text box, I actually want to be the cursive writing, which I use Vellum. And whatever you want to label your box, you'll just go ahead and write it here inside of the text box. Jasper, and I like my sizing to be about 35. And I'm going to go ahead and position that right in the middle. 2 more of those boxes, and I'll change the name of them in a bit. So now I'm going to add in another text box for the name in the background. That text font is going to be League Spartan, and I'm going to go ahead and just change up the size of that. I'm going to go ahead and just move that box here. And what I want is this to come out nice and bold behind. And now just position that. And I like to turn down the transparency. Actually, this is not the font that I wanted. There we go. That's more like it. And I'll bring that down some as well. And then I like to take the transparency and I like to kind of tone that down where it's kind of light behind the name. And I'll do it for the other two as well. So here I'm done with the names on the sheet. Now what I want to do is print it. So to print it, I'm going to go to Share, Download. You want to make sure you change this PNG to PDF. And I'm going to use Best for Printing. And you just download it. And then you'll take it from here and print. Here is the printed paper on Vellum. I do have a LaserJet printer, so I would recommend that once this prints, you do leave it inside of the printer for just a minute or two, just to make sure that the ink dries and doesn't smudge all over the place. I have had that issues a few times. Now I'm going to cut this down to size using my paper cutter. I really like this paper cutter because I can kind of see in between to see exactly where I'm going to cut. And I am going to be cutting right along these gray lines that are here, which is why I don't make them too dark. Line that up on the inside. Press this down, slice. I'm going to do one with you on camera and I'll cut the rest afterwards. So again, just lining it up. It really helps that it's clear in between. There, looks like I didn't cut exactly on top of the line, but that's okay, because this one is for me and not one that's being sold. I will consider selling these in a while. Just let me know down in the comments below if this is something you are interested in me making and purchasing. And I can list it in my Etsy shop. So there we have it. Here is one cut envelope. I am going to be cutting the rest and then get back to you. So I finished cutting down all of the labels for my cast stuffing envelopes. I also went ahead and turned on my laminator to 5 mil. Make sure it is on 5 mil. Next, I am going to pull out my 3 mil glossy laminating sheet. Sorry for the glare. And what I want to do is first cut off the top so that I have 2 sheets of these. So there's no measurement with that. You just want to make sure that you snip off the top. So now I have 2 pieces of this. So now I'm going to cut these pieces down. I want to use about 3 1/4. Since this is a 8.5 by 11, you would also get 3 pieces out of this as well. Once you've cut them down, we want to cut them down again so that the length can be about 6.5. Just 1/4. Make sure you do 6.5 or else your money won't fit. Hold that down. and slice. I use the 3mm glossy laminating paper because I want to flip them inside out and I want to know that it is inside out. So you're going to take it and flip it. You know they're inside out because it's matte on the inside and shine, because it's matte on the outside now and shiny on the inside. If you put the two matte sides together, when you put it through the laminator, it is going to stick. We're gonna go ahead and place that vellum right on top of that. Make sure it's all neatly lined up together. And now I'm going to take my matte vellum. Open that up and neatly position my 3mm sheet with my matte sheet together inside. And I'll go over that once again. So once again, you have your shiny 3mm. You're going to open that, flip it inside out. Place your label, line it all up. And place it inside in another direction. So what I want to be mindful of here is that I need room for my punches. So I'm going to be using room down here to punch. And for this envelope going inside, I'm putting it in where I know I'll have enough room to also create the punch underneath the word. For my last envelope, same thing. Gonna put it in carefully, being mindful of the fact that I need room to do my punches on the end. My laminator is all heated up and ready to go, so I'm going to carefully put that in, and I'm going to just hold it up as it go in. And you're gonna want to run that through the laminator maybe 2 times. So that just went through the laminator 1 time. I'm gonna first cut it down before I run it through the laminator again. I'm gonna run these through the paper cutter. No measurements as of yet. I'm just running it through, knowing I need space for punches. And I'm just gonna go ahead and split that, but I'm not gonna cut on any of the vellum pieces. So I have my 3 envelopes here. Then I'm just gonna run through the laminator 1 more time. I'm just gonna flip them upside down just so they can be a little more flat and even. And again, holding it so that it can stay straight on both sides. So now all of the envelopes has went through the laminator a 2nd time. Now I'm going to cut them down even more. This time when I cut down, I want to make sure I leave about a 1/2 inch from the edge of where the vellum ends, because that's where I know it's laminated. If I go up any further, I'll open up the envelope, and we don't want that. So I'll just place this down. And we're gonna look for just about a 1/2 inch. And my 1/2 inch line is right here that I'm gonna focus on. Oop, that moved. Now I have the right sizing for the bottom of my envelope. I'm just gonna cut down the sides. No real sizing for me as of now. And I'm actually gonna take the bottom and line it up down here because now I know that is straight. Next, you want to trim that just a little more. So this part I'm kind of just eyeballing, but still making sure that I don't go into the vellum. So that's the space that I cut. Now I'm going to do the other side, and you basically just don't want too much space on the sides. So now I'm going to cut the top piece. So what I want on the top piece is to still have a little bit of it laminated, because I don't want the top to open up. So I'm going to just go right where I can see that it's not sealed anymore. Just going to flip it over on this side, and I'm going to cut just right where I see it's not sealed anymore. And as you can see, the envelope opens. And my vellum is not exposed. Because the key thing is you don't want that vellum to be exposed, or else it's going to open up. And I'll do this one more time with you. So first I'm taking my bottom part where I'm going to hole punch, and I'm going to cut off. I'm just going to leave a 1/2 inch after where the vellum ends. Now that I'm able to have a straight edge on the bottom, I'm going to just line this up and just cut off, just to have a little outside of where the vellum ends, but make sure that I'm not opening it up. If I do. Look at that. Now what I'm going to do is just cut just a little above the vellum. And we'll go ahead and just open that up. And we're good to go here. So now I have all 3 envelopes all cut down to the size that I want. I want to go ahead and use my hole puncher. The key thing about this now is, for this particular puncher, you need to make sure it's on A6 Personal and not on A6 Agenda, because they're 2 different sizes. So once you have both sides on Personal, you go ahead, stick that side in, and you punch right through. Now this part is more of a preference. I use the 4mm side. I go ahead and flip that over just so I can see what I'm doing. Stick in the corner and I just punch. If you don't punch the edges, then it's just pointy and sharp. And here we have a finished envelope. So last I should show you what they look like inside of the A6 size. I purchased this off of Amazon last year. I'll link it if it's still available. But I'm just gonna open it up. I already have a dashboard that I created. This will be found on my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop is Jasmine Plan Studio. So here I have it fitting right in with no issues. Ready to start cash stuffing. My mom always says you should never have an empty wallet. So to at least have $1 in there. So here I am stuffing $1 inside. Just to show you how that fits. Also, another thing I've created is these Christmas and July savings challenges, which is also on my Etsy shop. You can take them if you wanted to and stick them inside of an envelope as well. They fit right in. So that is all for today's video. If this information helped you, please consider clicking that like button down below, as well as subscribing to this channel for more content, as I will have more savings challenges and envelope content coming to this channel shortly. And until next time, happy planning.